Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 56 of The Grand O Show. I'm your host, Grant Ordoyne, coming to you from the Bayou Region Incubator in the heart of beautiful, historic downtown Thibodaux. And on today's episode, we've got a duo that knows how to light up any room or stage with creativity, comedy, and a whole cast of unforgettable characters. Tim and Laura Allured are the heart and hands behind Harvey Rabbit and Friends, a one-of-a-kind puppet show that's brought joy and laughter to audiences of all ages. Whether it's the quick-witted Harvey Rabbit, the curious Cecil the orangutan, or the down-home charm of T-Boy the alligator, these characters deliver big laughs and moments that stick with you long after the curtain closes. With a unique mix of storytelling, personality, and performance, Tim and Laura have built something special, a show that's fun, fast-paced, and full of heart. I'm excited to hear what they have to say, so let's get to it. It's go time.
Down on the bayou, it's go time go. You're listening to the Grant O Show. You're listening to the Grant O Show.
All right, Mr. Tim and Miss Laura, once again, thank y'all so much for taking time out of your day to join us here. It's greatly appreciated.
Well, we appreciate you asking us. We're flattered.
Of course.
This is our first podcast.
Yes, indeed. First one.
We've heard about such things. We didn't know what they are.
Now we're on one. Whoa.
I guess.
Well, I'm honored to have y'all here. I'm a little starstruck. I'm not gonna lie. Because I will say. So back in the day, at Bayou Buff Elementary, I remember y'all had a significant impact on me because y'all did the Harvey Rabbit show at Bayou Buff Elementary. And that was the first time, seeing y'all. Yeah. And ever since then, it was just like, it was heartfelt.
Oh, my goodness.
Well,
it was really great.
We appreciate that.
Thank y'all.
We hear from kids that are now grown, and they say something to us, and I don't really quite know what it means, but we've heard it numerous times. They say, Harvey Rabbit people, y'all were my childhood.
Yeah, it's the truth.
Like they're the only thing in their childhood. I don't know.
It's the truth, and I don't know if it's a South Louisiana. I don't know if it's a South Louisiana thing, but hey, it's like y'all well known. Y'all well known around the South Louisiana and all over the state, really and truly. And so that's definitely a tip of the cap to y'all for sure.
It always astonished me that they recognize us because we look a little different than we did when we started out.
They do tell us that. Y'all haven't changed at all.
Well,
I know you can't see us right now, but my hair is basically gone off the top, and Miss Laura's hair is
white. Gray.
It's all gray. Yeah. No long brown hair for Miss Laura anymore. But they still recognize us.
But Harvey hasn't changed one bit.
Harvey hasn't changed
He's like Peter Pan. He'll never grow up.
He's out of, can I use a commercial term here?
Of course.
He's at McDonald's right now.
Yeah, okay,
he doesn't come early, but when he shows up, we'll let him say a few words.
Late,
yes, indeed. Of course, Mr. Tim and Miss Laura, I'm going to be asking y'all a few questions today, so just to kind of kick things off and get things started. Why don't you share with our listeners a little bit about yourselves?
Starting where?
Wherever y'all want.
I was born. No,
I was born. Laura was born and raised in Lake Charles. I was born in Illinois.
Okay.
Raised in Indiana and North Dakota.
Oh, wow.
Moved to Louisiana in 1965, which is 60 years ago now. Wow. So I'm a Louisiana guy now.
I consider him a Cajun now.
Right.
So.
And we met in what year? 1979.
Okay.
I had gone back to school. I'd been out in the working at plants, et cetera, one thing and another. And she'd been touring the country with a touring group.
I was touring the country with a group called the Young Americans.
Wow.
And came back to college.
Wonderful group.
Yeah. I went and did that. And that's what made me want to go into full-time performing. After I'd gone to school for a year in special ed and then went on tour with them. Loved performing, loved music. I said, oh, nope, this has just got to be my life here. So one way or another. Yes. And then we both met at McNeese.
At McNeese in 1979.
Majoring in music ed.
In the same classes. And after about a year and a half of enjoying each other's company, we became a couple, dating. And we got married when we graduated in 83 from McNeese and went to the International Ventriloquist Convention.
Oh, wow.
after our first year of teaching. We graduated in music education.
Uh-huh.
So we're music
and what
teachers.
happened
I
over
had
there?
elementary school, and you were a middle school and high school.
High school.
Music
I was
teacher.
actually a band director for one
Yeah.
year.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
Behave yourself back there.
Yes.
And so at the event convention, you can tell them.
Yeah, in Fort Mitchell, Kentucky. It's a very unusual place. All these ventriloquists from all around the
Boy, oh
country,
boy.
and even some from overseas and stuff come on
international.
in.
Yeah.
And in fact, there's usually it looks like twice as many people because usually somebody's carrying a puppet or a ventriloquist figure
Right.
and stuff. So
And there's some big names go. Jeff Dunham
Jeff
goes.
Dunham.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's around anymore. Ron Lucas,
Mhm.
Jay Johnson, all big stars on TV. They
and
show up.
Jimmy Nelson,
Jimmy
which is
Nelson.
from way back, had Danny O'Day
Yeah.
and stuff.
But we met Mark Wade there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did Mark Wade tell us, Ms.
And
Laura?
Mark Wade was a former teacher, but that had gone into full-time school assembly work. And he saw the two of us perform together, and he knew that we were teachers, and he thought we would be a perfect fit for doing school assemblies. And we went, a little light bulb went off.
Ah.
Boing!
Yeah.
That could be a nice way to make a living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we kept thinking about it, but it was 2 more years before we actually cut the strings with the school system there and just went out to do performances. And so in 1986 was our first.
Yeah.
And we loved
school programs.
teaching. We did well in teaching, but we missed performing so much. When you teach school, we have a great appreciation for teachers because we were so worn out at the end of a day of teaching. And then to try to think about going out and doing shows like banquets or events and things like that, we were just so worn out. So that's when we said, okay, we need to make a choice here if we want to go into the full-time performing or not. And we knew that we'd have to leave the teaching alone. And we loved children. So we thought, well, this is a perfect way to mesh the both. We could still be around the kids and perform. And that was my favorite thing when I was teaching anyway, was putting on shows with the kids. Now I thought, I can be in the show.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And you are always coming over from the high school to be in my shows, whether it was Scrooge or some leading character,
Right.
adult character in
I play characters in her
in my
plays.
shows.
Yeah.
So that was sort of a neat.
So this is fun.
Yes, indeed.
And then before we really went into full-time school performing, we were on the cruise ships, which you were asking about something
Yeah.
that people might not know about us.
Uh-huh.
We worked the cruise ships for 5 years on and off.
Oh, wow.
and stuff.
And
First,
we
the
would
Delta Queen Steamboat Company, the
on the
river
Mississippi
boats.
River, and then we with Carnival Cruise
Uh-huh.
Lines out of Miami.
Yeah.
And so we did the islands, we did Jamaica and Grand Cayman and
And-
St. Thomas and all those. I got certified scuba diving. You got,
Certified duty-free shopper.
duty-free shopping. And it was exciting and fun, but we missed doing the school shows. We missed the kids. So we started doing some of those, then back to the cruise ships,
Right.
back and forth.
Because the ships you performed for all the
adults,
adults
yeah,
and stuff.
uh-huh.
If they had kids, it was fine because we were a family show. But we just missed being around the kids. That's our niche. That's what we do.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
fact, I would walk around the ship with Harvey and visit with people. They had like a video diary, and I'd go and interview people with Harvey and visit with them, and kids would come around. And that's when you said,
I remember watching Laura doing that, and there was just something in the faces of those kids when they'd see Harvey and the way Laura would talk to them
Yeah.
with Harvey. I said, oh, we got to go back and do kids shows.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
just
Yeah.
something, as one of the famous kids performers wrote a book, and he wrote, Kids Laugh Louder.
Mhm.
It was the title of the book, and it's true. So,
and we know how to write for
Yeah.
him. We know, Tim says I'm a kid at heart. I mean, so I think like a kid. So
Well, and a lot of times too, I always say I'm always big on authenticity, and you can't get anything more authentic than a child smile and laugh.
oh my
Yeah.
goodness,
That's to the
It's
heart.
just-
oh,
it's
yes.
just-
That's the
They don't
sword.
put on.
No,
No,
you're right.
no,
Let you know.
They'll let
one
you
way or the
know.
other.
Either way, they'll let
just
you know.
really honest audience. Yeah.
They'll let
we
you
love
know.
it. We love it.
Oh
Yes.
gosh. And then so we go back and forth when we sort of let those ships know that we were ready to go back and do some school shows. We'd perform until we ran out of schools, and then we'd go do the ships. And then the last, 2 years,
Couple
we did just summers on
summers
the
on the
cruise ships.
ships, and then after 2 years of that, in '92, the library started calling
Yeah.
for us to go do summer reading programs in the library. So we said, okay,
Oh, this is
we'll do that
great.
instead of going back to the ships.
We can do this full time
yeah.
too now.
So that took over their
Be
summertime.
with kids all the time.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. That's great. For sure. How did Harvey Rabbit and Friends get started, and when did puppetry become part of your lives? I know you kind of talked about it a little bit.
Right. Well, I actually started doing puppets or ventriloquism when I was 12, somewhere
wow.
in there.
What you usually say,
Right,
yeah.
loved Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chops.
Yes.
Loved watching her. In fact, I actually got to meet her.
Really?
Yeah, later on when I was in college, and it was just like you said, starstruck.
Yeah.
I just couldn't
She'd come
believe
to
it.
Lake Charles to do something with a symphony there.
Uh-huh.
And they had asked if they needed somebody to help her with her costume changes and everything. And they knew that I was a ventriloquist, and I was just so thrilled. I think speechless, which is very unusual for me.
She wasn't really speechless.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe talked a little
With her.
less.
And she was just as nice and as down to earth. It was no disappointment at all. She wasn't the star that didn't just kept telling me what to do or whatever. She sat and talked to me. She treated Lamb Chops just like a little guy. I remember she sort of dropped him and said, "Oh, baby, I'm so sorry." And it was so cool. I still have an autographed picture of her and me in our house
our
right
wall,
now, on our wall. And then, like I said, as I got older, as I always tell everybody, I got
Go
my
ahead, tell
first,
them.
as they call them, ventriloquist dummies. Sometimes I always told them got my first dummy. This was a cruise ship joke.
Mm.
When I was 12, I got my second one when I graduated from high school. I got a professional ventriloquist figure, and then I got my biggest dummy when I got married. So
The eye roll.
Don't laugh, Grant. Don't laugh.
The eye roll
Yeah.
is priceless.
It comes with the territory when you marry a ventriloquist.
And in college, you used to come and help me when I did my little programs for banquets and
Right.
with my
It
sounds.
was a solo act with just her, but
Mhm.
as she was doing a banquet, she'd have her ventriloquist figure, not Harvey.
Yeah,
His name was Alex.
Alex.
He'd throw little comments my way,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and they'd always laugh.
Yeah.
And the pup would make fun of the boyfriend.
Yeah.
And so I had to
Gosh.
come with the little comebacks to that, and just kind of gradually I got pulled into the program
Mhm.
like that. So
In fact,
it
one of
became an
our
act.
and one of, in fact, well, after we got married and we're working the ships, one of our act is that Tim actually was my ventriloquist figure.
Show them how it
Yes,
works.
said, like when
You
I,
can't see it, but
you can't
just
see it.
imagine.
When I said I
When
do,
you hear that voice, is her making me talk.
yeah, when
Yeah.
I'd say I do, when the minister asked me if I said I do, and my husband said I do too.
Yes, indeed.
And we did the song Tea for Two that I
Wow.
would sing, and I'd sit him like not actually on my knee, but
At
on
a
a
stool.
stool,
Yeah.
and I would make him talk. He'd
Yeah.
sing.
Do a little bit of it.
Okay. Picture you upon my knee, just tea for two and two for tea. There we go.
And they would laugh.
Yes, indeed.
It's a living.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
indeed. No, that is fantastic.
And everything. As much as we enjoyed the ships, like I said, it was just a thrill when we could start Harvey Rabbit and Friends, which Harvey, when we first started, didn't have that many friends. Tim, when we were talking about that on
Yeah.
the way over, Cecil and T-Boy weren't
Right.
around yet
Mhm.
and stuff. But that we gradually added them to the
That's
show.
the orangutan and the alligator.
Yeah.
For those of you who are not familiar with Cecil and T-Boy.
And in fact, was it Cecil came first?
Uh-huh.
I got him when we were working on the cruise ships. And Jeff Dunham, for those who know him, he does Peanut and Walter, the old
Yeah.
man, and Ahmed, the
Yeah.
terrorist,
Yeah.
and
I kill you.
everything. I saw him at the convention do, it was a gorilla. I can't even remember his name, but it was so cute. And,
Mm.
and I thought, I got to get me something in the ape family
Yeah.
and everything. I thought, well, I'm not going to get a gorilla like him and everything. And found out who the maker was for his gorilla and called her up. And I decided I wanted an orangutan. I
Yeah.
thought they were really cute. So we ordered her and she just came up with this wonderful little guy. And was it one weekend when we were off the ship?
She's in Florida, so we got off the ship on the way back to Lake Charles. We
Yeah.
stopped at her place, and,
Yeah.
And there was
he was hanging from the
Cecil
chandelier.
hanging from the
Yes, he did.
chandelier.
with his bare buns.
I
Yeah.
was bare buns. She said, she said she checked the National Geographic, and she said they have bare buns in the National Geographic.
And it's
Wow.
still a joke.
Yes.
The kids all get excited
Oh,
when
gosh.
Cecil turns around and they see his bare buns.
Oh, yeah.
And everything. So
You remember that?
That
Grant?
brings back memories. That brings back memories for sure. That brings back memories.
And then-
Definitely.
It's one of the things we learned at the event convention. You can do things that are almost naughty.
Yeah.
You know, it can't be too naughty, but almost
Yeah.
naughty, and that gets a laugh from the kids.
Definitely.
Anytime you mention underwear, it's
Yeah.
a joke.
yeah, that's
It's a
it.
joke,
That's
yeah.
it.
It's almost naughty to mention
Yeah,
underwear,
I
so
Yes, indeed.
Harvey never misses the chance.
Yeah, and then later on, as we kept performing, I guess, we were doing our starting full time with the children is when T-Boy came along.
Yeah.
And we decided, you can't be in Louisiana and not have an alligator.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
And of course, so got T-Boy, and I'm half
What's T-Boy's sister's name? T-Girl.
T-girl.
girl.
Et cetera, et cetera. Got a whole bit about that.
Yeah. Which the folks in South Louisiana get the T-Boy jokes. The ones in North Louisiana
little bit more
sometimes,
over the head.
you know. And I'm half Cajun. My mom was a Broussard from
Okay.
Southwest Louisiana, and my dad was from Indiana, and he's a Hoosier. So I'm what
Wow.
happens when the North meets the South. You
Yes,
get me?
indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, a beautiful blend. A
Yeah.
beautiful blend. A beautiful blend.
So far.
So I know y'all talked about the cruise ships a little bit, but is there anything else that our listeners might not know about you?
What were we thinking about? Oh, yeah. We saw that
We've
question
been
ahead of
married
time.
42 years.
We are married.
Yeah.
Wow.
We are really married.
Yes,
Yes,
we are really
indeed.
married.
We are. Shall I tell the story about the couple on the cruise ship that was also from Lake Charles?
Uh-huh.
And he
He was
wanted
a
to stand.
magician.
Yeah, it was Chip and Rhonda. This was back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Mhm.
He wanted to stay in the ships. She didn't.
Mhm.
And so they divorced.
Oh, wow.
You know, and he's still on the ships as far as I know, and she's doing other things. Well, a few months later, we heard what we.
Well,
you tell them the story.
I was performing we were performing at an elementary school.
In Ascension Parish,
And-
south of Baton
And
Rouge.
a teacher came up to me and she said she thought it was so wonderful that we could still work together even though we were divorced.
Oh, wow.
And I thought,
What? Something you didn't know?
And it turns out they had heard about this couple from Lake Charles and worked at cruise ships
right.
that were divorced, and they assumed it was us.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Because how
Oh
many
my
couples from Lake Charles
gosh.
were at cruise ships?
Hmm.
And
it was from a teacher who knew her
Someone in
mother
Lake
went to
Charles.
church with my mother in Lake
Lake
Charles.
Charles.
And isn't it crazy
That's
how
how
the
typically
grapevine
happens.
and
it
they
gets
just assumed
going?
we were divorced and worked
Mhm.
together. Well, we put that little misconception to
Gossip in
rest
the- in the
until-
teacher's lounge.
until about 10 years ago. My sister said there was a picture of us on Facebook. Yeah, I guess it was
Okay,
Facebook.
what?
She says like a meme. I don't know what a meme is, but she says you got to check it out. So I made my little account. And I went on there to check it out. And everybody's saying nice things about how Harvey comes to our school every year and blah, blah. I've been seeing them for many years. And then some guy down there said, I heard they were divorced and just working together. 25 years after that rumor had been put to rest, it's still out there.
Came
It's
back.
amazing.
Came back around.
And,
Oh,
and
my
I couldn't
gosh.
reply because it was part of a group that,
Of social
yeah.
media now.
and so my
Yeah.
sister went on there and explained that, no, we've never been
Oh,
separated or
gosh.
divorced. That was somebody else. But I don't know. You know, by that time, it's too late.
Oh,
That
yeah.
word gets out there. So
Yes,
we haven't heard about that since. So anyway, back to what were we starting to
Yeah,
say?
he was saying something that they might not know about us.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's that. We really are married.
Yeah.
42 years. Just had our anniversary last week.
And we're alive.
So,
And we're alive.
Some people
Congratulations.
have heard that we're dead.
Oh.
One guy wrote to us, "Are you dead?"
Oh, wow.
On an email. I heard y'all got cancer and you died.
Oh.
And
I
then, he
wrote
said,
back
and then he said,
write me back as
write
soon as
me
you
back
can.
and let me know as soon as you can.
He was a high school kid, I think.
Oh,
So I
wow.
wrote him back and I said, no, we were far from dead.
Yes,
we,
indeed.
we've
Thank
had
God.
cancer. Both of us have
Yes.
had cancer,
Oh,
but
wow.
they cure it, now.
Yes.
Thank God for
We're
that.
going to go for another 50
I
years,
had
I guess.
breast cancer, you had prostate
Yeah.
cancer.
Wow.
In fact, that was the motivating thing for me when I had to go through chemo and all that. That was back in 2019. In fact, I was not happy about it all. And I had my little schedule
Uh-huh.
there for the summer of all our shows, and the doctor said that's not going to happen. And I
Wow.
just burst into tears. And she was like, what's all this about? And everything. And I said, because I got to do my shows.
Yeah.
And she said, well, you want to keep doing your shows? I
You
said,
have to do
yes.
this.
And then she goes, then you need to do the chemo and you need.
She
I
knew
said,
what to tell us. So,
so
I said, okay.
and all right. I said, okay, I'm going to do it.
And she did.
And that was my motivating thing. As soon as
That
I
was
get
when, Laura?
get
5
to
years
this-
ago?
Yep.
5
Oh,
years
wow.
ago. So
Five-
she's
five-
got a
six-
clean bill of health.
6 years
6
ago.
years now.
6 years
So
ago.
she's getting on.
And that was a thing that really kept me going, was knowing I was going to be back in front of those little kids and see those wonderful smiling faces.
And then once she got healthy enough to do full-time
Uh-huh.
perform again, the pandemic hit.
I know.
Oh, go stay
one
home
thing
and
after
stay, go
another.
home and stay home. So that was a rough
I
one.
performed
But the
till
other
about
thing, back to his original, go on.
Oh, I said so we performed. I got to perform for about a year in my little wig and everything, and then
Well,
March
people
13th.
said they loved your new hairstyle.
I know they love my new
Didn't
hairstyle.
know she was bald as a billiard ball underneath.
See, they didn't know about that either. So,
But no, back to his original question. We were going to say something they may not know about us. Laura was valedictorian of her high school.
I know.
Really?
Yes.
That's fantastic.
You would not think, as wacky as she is, that she can really buckle down and study.
I'm sort
And
of
this is not a
Lucy
small
to
high
his
school.
Ricky.
Yeah.
This was a high school in Lake Charles, LaGrange.
Uh-huh.
And at that time, how many were in your graduating class?
450.
400.
Oh,
and some
wow.
odd. And she
Yeah.
was valedictorian along with about 10
Oh,
others.
yeah,
They all
but
had
still,
straight
yeah.
A's, but she
Yes,
had
indeed.
straight A's.
And everything. So
I was third in my class.
yeah, I get it.
I don't have that to hold.
And my big passion growing up was ballet. I was a ballet dancer.
She's an accomplished ballet dancer. I mean,
Wow.
beautiful ballet dancer.
So the goofy person up there that acted so silly
And does
was
the
about Victoria,
crazy
and the one
moves.
that dances like, well, I call Jerry Lewis, which a lot of the audience might not know who Jerry Lewis was, but he's another idol of mine that I got to meet or see.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were in Miami
Uh-huh.
off the cruise ships. We were there at the photo shop when you had to go get pictures developed back in those days.
Yeah.
And who walks in? Jerry
Lewis.
Lewis. And was standing right next
Do you
to
know
her.
who
with
Jerry
I
Lewis
do.
is? Okay.
Yeah.
I do.
Right next in, and he had like a bodyguard with him,
Uh-huh.
and we were doing our thing. We didn't want to say anything, and he came and he did his little business and walked out, and we looked at the guy. He says, "Yeah, that's Jerry."
Yeah.
Lewis."
You went to like act cool.
Yeah,
Always say act
I
like you've
think
been
he
there
was
before.
he was a
And
guest
all
act.
these other people were bothering him. I was like, oh, I'm going to be so
Yeah.
cool.
He was a guest act at one of the casinos in the
Yeah.
area or something.
Plus, we got to see him perform live in
Yeah,
a musical,
the
too. It
singer,
was just
yeah.
wonderful.
Oh, wow.
So.
Anyway, back to it. So
But
anyway,
anyway,
now,
so when you see me acting goofy, know that I really do have some brains under here. And when I dance really, really crazy, I have a really good background in ballet and tap.
background, that's right.
Yes. Yes, indeed. That's wonderful.
Well, and Carol Burnett, she's another mother one I just idolize. So.
Oh, yeah. Carol Burnett is great.
Oh,
for sure.
gosh, so wonderful.
I suppose the one thing, though, I mentioned it earlier, that I was a band director.
Yes.
At one time. So that'd
Yeah.
be an unusual thing.
Yeah.
You were a band director? Yes, I was. It was sort of an interim thing, but I had him for 1 year.
Yeah.
Laura was my assistant band director. She was. She was fun. She would do, that was back in the 83, fall of 83. We'd just gotten married.
Yeah.
And Michael Jackson was big.
Uh-huh.
And remember that we taught the band how to play, Beat It?
Beat it.
Maybe.
And I let Laura direct that.
Uh-huh.
And all her hips would go,
Yeah,
beat
yeah.
it, beat it, beat it. She directed with her hips as
And
much as her.
I'd choreograph the band and stuff, even though I'd never been in
This-
band.
This was, of all things, in DeQuincy, if you're
Yeah,
wondering where I was
so-
band director. So
I got you. I know you kind of touched on it a little bit. Looking back, what was the very first performance like?
We were talking about that.
yeah, we're
too.
trying to remember. Laura wore high heels, and a fancy dress that had to be dry
had to be
cleaned.
dry
And we
cleaned.
learned very early on that that's not good,
Especially
because
in South Louisiana or in
she gets so
Louisiana
sweaty.
altogether.
And back
you
then, a
know,
lot of the gyms we were in were not air conditioned. Back in 83,
Oh,
or I got
oh
that
my
in
gosh.
86,
86, yeah.
87. But the show went okay. We didn't have a whole lot of equipment and props like we do now. But I remember and Harvey was sort of not the main figure back then. He was you had your ventriloquist
I
figure
had
that was the main
Alex,
guy.
Yeah,
And the show was called Feeling Good About Yourself.
about self-esteem. That
And
was a big
Harvey
deal.
was shy at the time. We had him in a little shoe house. We said, "Harvey, you going to come out?" No. What do you say? "Oh, I want to come out. I want to come out."
And the thing,
And then finally we said, "Harvey, it's time for you to come out." "Oh, come out." He said, "What are you doing in there?" And we'd open the door and we'd have the theme from Mario Brothers
Yes.
game.
Yeah.
Super Mario Bros.
They would
had just come
laugh.
out.
And the kids would laugh. That was our big laugh in the show, was Harvey playing his video games. And the show went okay. It was school in Lake Charles, Watkins Elementary.
Okay.
And we felt good because afterwards a teacher came up and said, they really liked you, because if they don't like you, they boo. And I said, well, they didn't boo. I guess it's going to like
right.
us. And I was telling Laura, if they had booed us, that might have
That
been the
might have
end
been
of
the
Harvey
end of it.
Rabbit and Death. And we might have it never gone. We have packed up and gone home and said, we're going back to teaching.
Yeah,
But they
yeah,
didn't boo,
didn't
so
boo,
the
so-
career went on 39 years later.
And I was thinking about the Mario Brothers. One of the big inspirations for us when we start writing material and stuff is my nephews. They were little at the time. They were in preschool and elementary, and they loved Mario Brothers. We played video games with them, and just hanging around them and their friends, and the famous phrase of Harvey.
You want to tell the story?
Yeah. One of the Harvey's famous phrase.
Famous phrase that he's known for. If you know Harvey Rabbit, you'll remember is what's his phrase, Lord? Say it together.
I don't know.
That came from Laura's nephew, my nephew-in-law.
Yeah. Who's now in his 40s and has 3 kids.
He was like 3 years old when we were writing the show, and he was at that age where anytime you'd ask him something, he'd just say, I don't know. I don't know. Where's your brother?
I don't know.
What'd you have for supper last night? I don't know. What'd you do at school today?
I don't know.
And he says so much, we said, we got to have Harvey say that line. So Harvey sort of expanded on it. I don't know. And the kids love it. Some of the schools are waiting for it. As soon as Harvey starts to say it, they all join in.
And it drives parents crazy.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure. Now I know where they get that from.
He's from that Harvey Rabbit taught him that.
Even the teachers will complain sometimes. Yeah, I ask kid, who is the second president of the United States? And they'll think about it and they go, I don't know. Harvey Rabbit.
Speaking of, let's talk about, some of the other stars of the show, Harvey Rabbit, Cecil the orangutan, T-Boy the alligator. Can you walk us through each of their personalities?
Okay. Of course, Harvey, he's the sarcastic one. He's the one that says things that probably a lot of kids would like to say, but wouldn't.
Oh, yeah. Gets away with a lot.
He's a wisecracker,
we let him get away with it.
And everything, which that's the one thing that kids love is I can't believe he did that.
I used to say that Harvey was a combination of Bugs Bunny and Bart Simpson.
Yeah.
A little snarky, and a little goofy, he just, and Laura just has that sense of humor that makes that work.
And just like a lot of ventriloquists say, is lots of times your figure says a lot of things that you wouldn't say normally. I was always a good kid in school, quiet, did my work and all that kind of stuff. And Harvey's, he's just, I would never do that in class. And then Cecil, he's sort of the more sweet-natured. We think of him as a young orangutan. And he's, like I said, he was made by the same lady that made Jeff Dunham's. In fact, if you're familiar with Jeff Dunham's Peanut, he goes, that
same
kind of shaped figure and everything there. So, and then T-Boy. It's sort of funny with T-Boy. He's
Cajun alligator.
Alligator. And when we got him and we wanted to order some more and stuff, because they do eventually wear out.
Yeah.
Don't tell the kids.
Don't tell the kids,
Don't tell Harvey. This is like Harvey 12 right now.
But the guy said, I'm not going to be able to make another one like him. It's a special not sculpturing, foam or mold that he does the T-Boys in. It's a rubberized kind of stuff.
Steve Axtell.
Steve Axtell,
He does things for the Hollywood stars. And
And he said, I don't have the mold.
No, he didn't say that. He redesigned the alligator because
redesigned it.
People were complaining it was too mean looking.
Oh, wow.
And so he switched it to sort of a goofy face.
Yeah.
And we said, no, we don't want a goofy face. So he pulled the old mold out of retirement and made him just for us. Just like the original
because
T-Boy.
we said alligators.
Gotta have a mean one.
And the Louisiana, they don't look goofy.
I put my kayak in the bayou every now and then.
And he said, we got to scare the kids. I said, no, not the kids in Louisiana. They love them.
Yeah. Yes,
they love that mean alligator.
And we had to make 3 of them for us at the time. So they last. We just switched over to a new one. Actually, that's about 10 years. And it's time to switch over.
Repaint them and things like that. So.
Good deal. Mr. Tim and Miss Laura, what's the creative process like when putting together a new skit or show? Do the characters kind of guide the story, or do you write around a specific theme typically?
With our school shows, of course, the school shows that we're touring with now there's 5 of them that we've learned that after 10 years of performing, a friend of ours, Mark Wade, said, you don't have to write a brand new show every year because those kids are going to grow up, and you could start recycling.
So we're on a 5-year cycle. Yeah. The ones we're doing right now, we did 5 years ago and 10 years ago and 15 years ago. 20 years ago.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
been about 25 years that we've just been recycling what we
But
already
when
had done. But when we bring it back out, we update it a little bit. There's, pop references that we change.
Culture
And we just figure out a little better way to do it than we've done
Even the
before.
music
might
We're still
change up.
evolving. We're still coming up with little phrases or little
or
tricks
new
that make it better.
vocabulary,
Yeah.
or like one year some of our shows didn't have an anti-bullying message in it, and suddenly
That's
that
one thing we have
became
to.
a big thing.
When that
We said,
becomes
okay,
the big thing, then you have to start
we need-
incorporating that. So we had a little anti-bullying section.
well, when we first
We
wrote-
always had the drug-free message in
Yeah.
all of the shows
But-
because that
Gotcha.
was what the schools were looking
Oh,
for.
yeah.
So
when
we
we
always
first
do that.
wrote the show, we always laugh. For those who are familiar with Seinfeld, how
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
George
Yeah.
and Jerry, they sit in their couch with their
All right, here we
notebook.
go.
Here we go. You
All
come in,
right.
and it's
We need something
actually
here.
begins
it.
like that.
Yeah,
I
you sit
have a
down there.
notebook. Everything's written out, and
we have to do it together.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
We don't very seldom do. No, I was basically, and this was like so years ago when we were doing it. We were having to think back to how we did it, but we'd always bounce ideas back and forth off of each other. We need each other to do it.
And we decide, lots of times we'll talk to teachers and principals ahead of time back then and find out what is the thing you're trying to emphasize in the schools these days. Is it self-esteem? I know
Right,
that was the first thing
self-esteem.
when we first started
Mhm.
out. Of course, the bullying thing came in.
Gangs were a big thing for a while.
Yeah.
Anti-gangs. We had to
Of course, after some of the shootings and stuff,
Right.
that's when we decided conflict resolution
conflict resolution. Exactly.
needed to be
yeah.
approached. That's when we wrote out the
That
golden
was
rule and
Yeah.
the
put on the
golden rule
brakes.
school. That was right after Columbine, which is
Yeah.
1999.
Uh-huh.
We did that one in we did the fall of 99.
Okay.
And then we recorded it in 2000, put it on video. And I remember thinking, well, we didn't want, of course you can go up and say, don't use guns, don't be about, don't. But we thought, well, maybe if we can make an atmosphere where the school is so warm and encompassing
And
that the kids that would
positive
be, that no one's going to feel left out. No one's going to
Yeah.
feel like they want to come in and shoot up the school,
Right,
And so we were
exactly.
just trying to make it a
they
golden
feel
rule school.
included
Treat
and-
others the
and-
way you want to be treated.
Mhm.
And that was our motivation for that one, since you
Yeah.
asked. Yeah.
and stuff. And because I always talk about some of these loners and stuff. I said, well, maybe if they
Right.
felt,
Right.
if
Included.
if kids treated them, included
Right.
them in what they did,
So
and
maybe
stuff.
we can stop
Right,
it
because you
before
have
it
to
even
do
starts.
it. We can't do it at a middle school, high school level, and go in there and scare them half to
Right,
death.
no,
You have to
no,
approach them in a
no.
way that'll stick with them, but in a children way. And like I said, we add comedy in it, but yet we add a little bit of other
Right.
things too.
And we discovered that early on, you cannot do speeches.
Yeah.
Right, with little
With
ones.
little
Yeah.
Oh,
kids,
no.
A line here, a line there, but if you don't have the comedy in between, they're gonna just
It'll glaze
you can
over.
see their
Yeah.
eyes wandering and stuff.
Yeah.
So we
But-
try to keep the comedy coming quickly.
Right. But we
Yeah.
find our theme.
Periodically,
And then
frequently.
usually we come up with some vocabulary because we actually do teacher's guides for all our
Mhm.
school shows.
All right.
So we have a vocabulary and stuff. Think of what things do we want to get across to these kids? Like
Right.
even
And
our put on the
usually
brakes,
it
conflict
boils down
resolution.
to I'm the straight man. I am a former teacher, so it helps
Yeah.
with that. And I'm trying to teach Harvey about words and such. And of course, he's the worst student in the world. He comes up with all these comments. But along the way, hopefully the kids do learn the message of what I'm trying to
and
teach
Harvey
Harvey.
at the end always gets
And at the end,
message,
Harvey comes
and
around
stuff.
and
But
does the
then-
pledge with the kids to be good and kind and respectful and all those things we mentioned.
And we also bought lots of books and stuff on the different subjects. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, we sort of take notes and then we spread it all out. I said, okay, how can we make this entertaining for
Entertaining.
children?
Gotta keep it
how
entertaining.
can we do this that it'll stick with them when they leave, and
Yeah.
stuff. So, and like I said, a lot of it, the scripts we start off with a script and ideas and some jokes and everything. But like I said, it quickly evolves. We find out what doesn't work. We
Right.
cut that
Or you
real
can tell
quick.
real fast if it's not going to work. So, no, it's not going to work. Go
You
back
know?
and change it. And then things just happen spontaneously in the show. We say, we'll keep that. I'll never forget the time I was playing a bad guy. I always play a bad guy. This is the Western show.
Yeah, we always
I
have
was playing
a
some-
villain in the
with
show.
a bad cowboy guy. And we had a little contest where we had to put backs to each other, and there was the volunteer from the audience had a table and the bad guy had a table, and somebody was supposed to race back and forth moving things from one table to the other, and we were waiting. Laura was explaining the game to the audience, and I thought, well, that table's not quite the right place, so I just moved it so it was in the right spot. And those kids saw me move that table. Oh, such a reaction to that line. And I wasn't really cheating. I wasn't, but they thought I was.
Yeah.
And I thought, cheat, and the kids go crazy. So now every time I play a bad guy, I do something that's illegal, like, you know, and it just drives them crazy. So that's one of the things. It wasn't planned. It just worked out.
And it's good
way.
that they notice those things.
Exactly.
They notice
notice.
that you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing.
Yep. It's good.
And the opposite, that's sort of how my dancing happened, because I started dancing a little bit to some shows and the kids loved it. I thought, what? So that's now we have a whole dance of a boogie dance, of Lars boogie dance, and we all dance. We all get up and dance. So
for sure. And I know that a lot of times, the kids they react like we talked about genuinely and everything like that. What about the adults? Do they ever kind of get into it just as much?
They do. Infrequently.
Yeah.
Usually adults just sit there, arms crossed, kind of like, when's this going to be over?
Oh, wow.
But if you have a group of adults that are in there and they're smiling and they're laughing and they're
looking at their
woo-hooing and not looking at the phones,
Yeah.
which is unusual nowadays. But if they watch and if you see a smile on their face and they start participating, hands in the air and clapping along, that's wonderful.
Oh, yes.
It's not necessary, but it's wonderful if they do. Yeah, they're still kids at heart.
And they're not only laughing maybe at our jokes, but they're laughing at the kids watching us. You know, like I always tell everybody, we have the best seats in the house because we get to look at all those faces and all those smiles and all that laughter and everything. And I said, you can't ask for anything more, you know, so.
Definitely. And, that kind of rolls into my next question. Have you had any moments where you realized your show left a lasting impact on someone?
Oh, God.
Well, I would say we get quite a few comments and emails and face-to-faces nowadays of people that say they saw us 20, 30, even 40 years ago. Well, we've been doing it 39 years, but almost 40 years ago, we were at a wedding Saturday. And a guy came up to us. He says, I saw you when I was 10 years old. I'm 45 now. He says, I still remember when you came to my school. So,
and you asked me on stage, I got to do this.
Yes.
And all that,
the minister.
Oh, wow. The minister.
Conducting the ceremony. He says, when y'all came, I got to ride around. And we had a little three-wheeler. We'd have him ride around in the 50. He still remembers it. So it makes an impact. They still remember after all these years.
And all these, it's amazing now. We always ask a question at our shows now, how many parents saw Harvey when they were little?
Wow, yeah.
And they...
I'm sure.
The biggest compliment that they're bringing their child to see Harvey, something that they saw as a child, that it meant enough to them that they want their child to
another
experience.
generation.
Yes, even are in the third generation.
Yeah.
Some grandparents saw us as children.
Wow.
After 39 years, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
And then we've had some very serious conversations with some kids that said that they were thinking about
their friends were going the wrong way and wanted to do drugs. And they said, no, I remember Harvey said, don't do drugs.
Or smoking and stuff like that.
Yeah, in fact, Leland's little grandson said, because Leland was smoking, he says, Harvey Rabbit says, don't smoke. He said, I can't smoke when I'm around him.
That's a good thing.
So, they do pick up on the message.
And some of them, they said, their lives would be a lot different if they hadn't gotten to know Harvey. And they're just thinking about, they said, Mr. Tim, Miss Laura, they'd be so disappointed in me right now if they knew that I was thinking about going this way. Now, I'm not going to do it. So it's like, oh my goodness, they were listening. Yeah. Oh, they were paying attention.
Yes, indeed. And look how this came full circle. I feel like, too, it's just because I did see the schedule for the libraries and everything. And I said, I know they're going to be in Thibodeau on this day. I'm like, I wonder, so that's when I reached out. And I'm like, let's see if we can make it happen. If not, I totally understand. But I'm glad that we were able to make this happen.
We're having fun.
It's really cool. It's really cool. So thank y'all again for this.
And the other thing, too, I was going to think, some of these teenagers of all things that run up and just throw their arms around us. I'm like, who?
Again,
who are you?
So what she's talking about, we were in Leesville. The high school is across the street from the elementary. And we were packing up. We'd done the program at the elementary schools. We were packing up. And some of the high school kids come over, about like a half a dozen, to do some mentoring, I guess, with the elementary. They read with them or something. I'm not sure what the deal is, but they were coming over from the high school. And this one guy, he looked over and saw us looking up. He went, oh, Harvey Rabbit. And he came, he just threw his arms around Laura and he said, I thought y'all were dead.
Oh, wow.
That's what he said. Well, at the time, we weren't doing Facebook. And, to that generation, if you don't do Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, you you don't exist. Well, I guess he assumed
my
we.
gosh.
I
it
looked for
was
you on
so-
Facebook. I couldn't find you. I thought y'all were dead.
Oh my gosh.
We're alive and well.
Oh
Yes, indeed.
goodness.
Oh, kind of on a sentimental note, what's it like being married and working together as performers? What makes it work?
Well,
We kind of talked about
simply
it.
thing is we're a good team.
Yeah.
We know it.
That's it.
Well, I'm not bragging about it. I just
But
say
hey,
we know we're
should.
better together
Yeah.
than we
We're
are.
better together than
Yeah.
apart,
than
you know?
apart. So
Yeah.
And even in college, we when we were just friends, we'd go eat lunch. We'd
Mhm.
study together. We laughed together. Had the same
Yeah.
sense of humor. Loved kids. It was just a wonderful thing.
we
and
worked
then,
on projects together. So we knew we worked well
in
together.
fact, people knew we should have been a couple before we were a couple. So,
Hey, sometimes it
so when we
happens.
became a couple, they were like, "It's no big deal. We knew that was gonna happen." You know?
Our just personalities we didn't mesh well.
And even when we were teaching school, we were so supportive of each other and stuff. Him at the high school and him coming over to the elementary, helping me out here. And then when we got into full-time performing, it was just, I know there's a lot of ladies that come up to me and say, "Man, if I had to spend 24 hours with my husband, I would just go crazy."
So, no, they say I'd kill him.
Well, I was trying to keep it, tone it down.
Yeah, it's all good.
We have adults in the audience. You
It's
gotta
all
understand
good.
that.
This could be adults listening.
Yeah.
Trust me.
But anyway, yeah, we just work together,
Well,
and we're human beings.
Yeah.
We're occasionally she'll feel one way, I'll feel another.
Yeah.
We'll have to bull butt
Of
heads
course.
a
We're
little,
good
a
about-
little bit, but
Yeah.
they're
about-
few and far between, and we smooth out
We're
the
good about
wrinkles real
compromising
quickly.
if we
No.
need to. We
Yeah,
love.
we know to compromise.
we
Yeah,
love-
and that's key.
We take our vacations together. We don't have
Yeah.
to say, "Oh, you're going to
No.
go there, and I'm going to go there."
The only time we're apart, really, we're together 24/7.
Yeah.
7 days a week, except for Saturdays.
Yeah.
She has a little round she likes to make on
Of
Saturdays.
errands,
and
yeah.
runs errands, and you have your little special shops you like to go
Yeah.
to. She always
Yeah.
gets lunch at, can we say a
Oh,
commercial
yeah,
place?
yeah.
For Jason's Deli.
Yes,
in
oh, yeah.
Lafayette.
Yeah.
In Lafayette. And I stay home. I do the laundry, which
Yeah.
is real, methodical.
therapeutic,
and I
I'm
catch
sure.
up catch up on a few TV
Yeah,
shows.
all
And
stuff.
it goes end up doing the art. But that's our sort of away time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't call 3 or 4 times during the day, I feel
like-
like what? You didn't call?
Only
I
thing,
thought maybe you were
only
taking a
thing in
nap.
football season. He tells me, "Don't call during
Oh,
the
Well,
football
I
football
can't
season is
anymore. I
different.
can pause the TV if I have to.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
then at home, we're very just a regular. We think like a regular married couple. I love working in the yard. You work in the yard. We are the proud parents of 3 adore. I got to mention
That's
them.
the other thing people may not know about us. And do ask, do we have children? Well, tell the story, Laura.
We do not have children,
Well,
but we
no, you didn't tell that right.
What? Not human children.
How you tell it at the
No,
shows.
at the show,
People
yeah.
wonder if you have children. You say, yes, we
Yes,
do.
we do. We have 3
Three.
adorable kids:
Yes.
Tallulah, Addie, and Charlie. Hello, Tallulah, Addie, and Charlie.
They're not listening.
I know. Just in case, though,
And
just in
then?
case. And they are furry and they meow.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you tell the story.
Right,
That's it.
That's our kids. They're kitty
and,
cats.
um,
and you'd say they're 4-legged, but one of them
One of them is a 3-legged.
three-legged
Wow.
cat. So you can't say 4-legged.
Yeah.
That's
and
our
everything.
kids.
And our human children are the kids. I feel like all the kids that we go visit are
Mhm.
our kids.
Oh,
We
yeah.
count them as our kids. So,
Definitely.
in fact, that was the hardest thing during the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people asked us, how are you going to do, or are you going to retire? That was our other big thing. We want to make everybody know we are not retiring.
Uh-huh.
No.
And we got a taste of that during the pandemic, that we couldn't do shows,
Mhm.
and it just drove me absolutely crazy. I thought I was going to lose my mojo or something, and we missed the kids so much. We missed performing. Particularly the main thing, we missed the laughter. It was
And I
just...
saw y'all did the videos too, like
Yeah.
during the
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
so it kept it
Yeah.
going. I
Right, we
guess.
did what we could.
Yeah.
I did want to say, too, on the topic that we do not have real children. Laura had a medical condition that they said, do not get pregnant.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were okay with that. Neither of us,
Yeah.
we didn't get married with the idea that we wanted to start a family.
Yeah,
We just,
yeah.
this is sort of our
Yeah.
baby, our
Yeah.
fun rabbit friends.
Definitely.
But sometimes I think if we had real children, we might not be the way we are right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, we
Yeah.
could still be silly. And,
Yeah.
and if you have real kids, you got to set a certain limit
Yes.
to
Yeah.
how silly you can be,
Mhm.
or they're going to not
Or
be
even
developed the right way.
or
Yeah.
even with our shows. I don't know. if we
Yes.
would- yeah.
So maybe
Well,
it
things would
all
be
worked
different.
out.
It'd
you
be a
know?
different dynamic,
Yeah,
I
a little
guess.
bit. In fact, that's one reason we left teaching
Mhm.
is we found our personalities becoming more
We're changing.
strict. You start off out of college, you're so happy-go-lucky, and then you realize,
Mhm.
well, you can't be too happy-go-lucky. The kids
Yeah.
will take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And the good ones don't, but the bad ones do.
They
And
do.
so we found ourselves getting more and more strict and stern, and we said we don't want to be that
No.
way. So we cut
In fact, I
ties.
even
Yeah.
had was it a principal that they come in and evaluate you
Yes,
and said I was too enthusiastic.
That was his phrase. He says she's doing a good job, but she's
I was
too
too-
enthusiastic.
and I thought, uh-oh.
But he said she would learn to tone that down over the years.
I mean,
And-
but if that's your natural self,
I
you
know.
know what
And
I'm
that's,
saying?
I think that something went off. I thought that I need to find another job.
It just- after that,
I
yeah.
can't believe I'm in teaching and you're asking me not to, that I'm too enthusiastic.
Uh-huh.
I thought that's,
too enthusiastic.
I don't want to be here.
Yeah,
So,
too positive,
you know,
a lot of
I
times.
thought-
Oh, you're too positive. Well,
I know.
that's what makes the world go
Yeah,
around, right?
God.
You know,
And,
As a teacher, you know, you do have to
or too bubbly, you know,
Yeah.
and
You
stuff.
have
And
to
I
be
thought,
a-
I thought I'm a music teacher.
Yeah.
If
You do have to
anybody
be the
needs to be
authority
enthusiastic
in a
music, you want
classroom.
kids to love it, you know, and you've got to be enthusiastic. And I thought, well, that's what I feel like we're doing with our messages with the kids, whether it's conflict resolution and our was it say character? They have the pillars of character and stuff
Anti-bullying.
like that.
Yeah.
Golden rule, the drug-free message. You've got to be enthusiastic and positive about your subject to be able to convey it to the kids, you know, and to think they'd want you to tone it down or something
Yeah.
like, whoa. So I thought, good. With
no
school
one has
shows,
told us to tone it down. The one thing we have gotten sometimes is we're too loud.
We're too loud.
Can you turn it down a little? Well, generally, when someone tells us that, they don't have us back. Really.
Because the kids get pretty loud because we have them cheering
Oh,
and everything.
yeah, and we
but-
got to
Yeah.
be louder than they
but
are.
I don't know. I feel like, you know, if you're involved in something, if you're laughing, if you're cheering, if you're oohing and ahhing, you're going to remember that experience so much more than if you're just sitting there passive and just,
Sometimes
you know.
the kids are so loud, they get so excited that I can feel my eardrums
Yeah,
kind
starts
of
like, yeah.
depressed and pushed in. I say, well, this probably isn't good for my long-term hearing when I get old, but I said it's
Yeah.
worth the sacrifice.
Yes,
I'm not
indeed.
going to tell them to tone it down.
Yes,
You know,
indeed.
It's like one of the things we love going to is live performances, particularly musicals and musical comedy for sure. And when we sit in that audience and we see somebody up there
wonderful.
performing and all that kind of stuff, and we think of that feeling that we
Mhm.
get from that, and I think, oh gosh, I'm hoping that our audiences have the same feeling
Mhm.
that I'm having right now.
Exactly.
You know,
It's always we try to make musicals several times a year, and some years more than others, and it's always inspirational to us. Even if
Us.
they're not doing a kids show, just seeing a performer just give it their all and how it makes the audience
And
feel. I actually should put it down as a tax deduction.
I know.
because it really helps us do our shows, but I don't.
Yeah.
The
But it
IRS might take
motivates-
that as a stretch. if
It
I say-
motivates us that much more that when we go back to a performance that we're going to give it just as much as
Yep,
those folks did on
exactly.
stage. You know,
Mhm.
it's just very, very inspirational.
Mhm.
So
Definitely. What's next for Harvey Rabbit and Friends? Any new characters or projects in the works?
well, we always have in our school shows each year, like I said, we have our 5-year cycle that we always, Harvey and Cecil and T-Boy are always the stars.
Yeah.
But we have, like this year in our show, we have the thing in a box, and we have a talking drawing and
Mhm.
stuff, which they come out every 5 years.
Mhm.
We have Spike, the villain dog. He comes out every 5 years. He goes to
years.
All right.
reform school.
And the
to-
next year when he's not there, the kids say, "What happened to the
Uh-huh.
dog?" Or he's at reform
Reform
school.
school.
Yeah,
and
reform
He'll be
then-
out 4 years from now.
yeah, so he'll get out of reform school in
Yeah.
5 years. And
Those
then
are sort of recurring characters.
yeah,
Yeah.
and stuff.
As far as adding anything we've never used
Yeah.
before, probably not at this
Uh-huh.
point
Just-
in our lives.
Just new magic, maybe that you add
yeah,
during the
I
summer.
do
You
add
go
new magic.
went to a magic convention because we
year
love
before last, yeah.
combining magic, children's magic with the puppets.
We
Yeah.
can do that more in the
Needs
summer.
come-
Our
yeah.
summer programs, we adapt our school shows, but we take out the drug-free message, the anti-bullying message, and we have more room to put in some more
It's
magic.
all about the
so I
fun
do a
of
little more
reading
magic
and
in the
going to
summertime
the
shows,
library
yeah.
and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So we add a little bit
And
more magic.
I'd say the biggest new thing on the horizon for us, and it's still on the horizon, is getting into the social media and the streaming platforms. I know we need to do it, but it's not us.
Hey, how do you say that?
We had a young lady that offered to do it for us this last year. We said, okay, go for it. And she's set up a Facebook page with Harvey Rabbit. I think she set up a YouTube channel, which I actually already had a YouTube channel. But we just kind of let it sit there. We don't do much with it. We posted a few things.
Harvey has his own Facebook page.
Yes.
Okay. So we've added a few things there.
If you're listening, you want to check it out, Harvey Rabbit
I'll link it in the description.
Yeah.
There you
go.
Yeah.
And if we try to do it like on holidays and stuff, but we get so busy, then we say, we need to do this.
We did a countdown to Christmas. Harvey would post something about how many days till Christmas. And he did a little short thing, and a few more days later how many days to Christmas. And it got to be Christmas Day, and Laura had laryngitis.
Oh, wow.
Could not talk. Well,
no.
When that happens, Harvey can't talk, Cecil can't talk, Tibor can't talk. Yeah. Anyway, so all I could do, I took a still picture of Harvey laying on the couch with the blankets around him and a hot pad something on, the thermometer sticking out of his mouth or something. And laying just like so. Harvey's not feeling well today. Sorry.
Oh, God.
Speaking of which, why don't you go get the guy?
I guess I ought to get him.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say...
Came in for some more support.
I said we had done some other things, like we did the buddy bench.
Right. We posted
and like you said, during the pandemic and stuff, we did learn how to post some shows and stuff.
We put together some shows from home and edited them together and posted those online. Some of those you might be able to find those.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, we had a request from the Kiwanis Club, who was putting out buddy benches in New Iberia.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it wanted us to do videos out. So we put together explaining what a buddy bench is for the kids on the school grounds. And so if you want to look at that on YouTube, buddy bench, 2025.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you'll see Harvey.
And we used some of the kids there at the school with Harvey, so that was a lot of fun.
Speaking of Harvey.
Can I talk?
Came in for some more support.
All right. Can I talk now? Is this thing on? Let me see. Is this thing on? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Say hi to Grant.
Hi, Grant.
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
Fine, man.
You want to give him a fist bump? Give him a fist bump.
Yeah.
Boom.
There you go,
Right.
bud. There you go, bud.
All right. You remember Grant, huh?
Yeah, from a long time ago.
Oh, he looks a little older than
Bayou
What's
Buffalo.
that little fuzz stuff on your face?
I know.
Oh, yeah.
That grew a little bit.
Wasn't for that you'd have recognized him.
Right,
Yes,
right,
indeed.
right.
Gotcha.
All right, what's your,
Huh?
you know where we are, Harvey?
Huh?
You
Yeah,
know
I know where we are.
Where are we, Harvey?
I don't know.
All right.
You wait for that.
Yeah, all right. Hey, Harvey, what'd you get for Halloween? What do you say at Halloween when you knock on the door?
Trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. If you don't, I don't care. I've got SpongeBob underwear.
Harvey.
It's tightened underwear and
Stop.
bluey underwear.
Stop that. All right.
Speaking of, if someone wanted to bring your show to their event or school, what's the best way for them to reach out?
HarveyRabbit.org.
Gotcha.
Just Google Harvey Rabbit.
Yeah.
Usually our website comes up on the first attempt. Sometimes if the movie Harvey is going around with Jimmy Stewart, that might come in ahead of us.
Yeah.
But, or you can Google Tim and Laura.
Mm-hmm.
Usually our website will come up on that. So
wonderful.
Harvey
My
Rabbit.
name's better, though.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
HarveyRabbit.org.
Gotcha.
When we first started off, we had a HarveyRabbit.com. And then we said, that was back in the 90s, and they set that up for us, and it was too much trouble. People kept emailing us, and they had to set up where the kids could send these messages, and we were spending so much time doing that.
I spent all weekend answering mail.
So finally,
he said, just do a general thing. I said, no, they're asking me specific questions.
But anyway, we just dropped it, and then we decided we needed to get it going again. So we went, but HarveyRabbit.com was not available.
Yeah.
Somebody else had gotten that. So we went to HarveyRabbit.org.
Gotcha. Mr. Tim, Miss Laura, and Harvey.
Yes.
In South Louisiana, we know how to dig deep when it's go time. What's the one thing that keeps you grounded and motivated to keep performing and spreading joy through Harvey Rabbit and friends?
People like you.
Oh, Harvey. I can't believe he gave you a serious comment. Well, generally, I'd say Grant.
I didn't say I don't know.
Yeah, all right, good for you.
Proud of you.
Generally, I'd say just the kids. You know,
Oh, my
as
gosh.
long as they keep laughing. My sister asked me a few years ago. She retired from teaching at McNeese.
Mhm.
She said, and she asked me through a text, when are y'all going to retire? I thought about it for a second. I said, well, when they stop thinking it's funny. When Harvey Rabbit calls the girls chicky
Chicky
babies.
baby.
When they stop laughing, then we're out of here, you know.
Yeah.
But they're still laughing. They're still having us. And it's a wonderful thing to hear the children laugh and
Yep.
just do shows. It's just fun. So why would we give up?
I
you
know.
Why would we
Was
stop?
it like
Yeah.
Lionel Richie? I think they did an interview to him. He's in his 70s now, and he
Mhm.
said, "When are you going to retire?" He goes, "Why should I retire? I'm having too much
Yeah.
fun."
Yeah.
I said, "That's us, you
Right.
know, like performers, entertainers. They don't retire.
Oh, you don't
You know,
retire
this
for
is-
something you enjoy doing.
You know, because the kids are like family. You know, when we go to the schools, it feels like family now when we go visit all these
Yeah.
folks and the teachers and the principals
Yeah.
and librarians and lots of these kids that, in fact, it was sort of funny. Saturday night, we went to a wedding
Right.
of, the mother of the bride had seen us when she was little, and her daughter, who was getting married, grew up with Harvey Rabbit
Mhm.
and everything. In fact, Harvey sent her a present
Wow.
too.
A build a dab bunny in a wedding dress.
Very thoughtful, Harvey.
Yes,
And
indeed.
then the young man that we went to that had a graduation party grew up with Harvey, and he actually has his own puppet now,
Wow.
Oscar, that he does. So
Wow.
it's just like
Oscar and Harvey, you'll do a little something one day.
Yeah.
We'll do something together, yeah.
He lives in Houston, so
Yeah,
it's a little
little
hard
stuff,
right now.
so-
He-
But
he
anyway,
grew up in Burbridge.
but like I said, that's what just keeps us going. Like you
Mhm.
said, the laughter, the smiles. When you look out there and you think, "Gosh, we got the best jobs on earth."
Yeah.
Right.
This isn't a
feel-
job. This is a passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
We
or
feel,
I guess it's like you say in church. It's a
It's a
calling.
calling.
It's a
well,
calling.
calling.
You know.
But we're very fortunate that we can make a living entertaining.
Mhm.
We don't have to go to California. Don't have to
Exactly.
go to New York. Don't have to work on the cruise ships. Right here in Louisiana,
We
just traveling
love
all over the state.
Louisiana.
And that they still have us, and
Yeah.
we've made enough living to
Right.
Definitely.
Right.
to
Definitely.
make a decent living. You know, we're
Yeah.
not going to be rich or anything like
Yeah.
that, but that's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
important to us.
That's
So.
what
It's
you
great.
know.
It's
Most
great.
important thing is the kids and the family and all that. So,
Yes, indeed.
in fact, what's our favorite phrase from The Little Mermaid? Tim?
Oh yes, and yes.
Okay.
It's what we do.
It's what we live for.
I don't know if you know that movie.
Yeah.
Ursula.
Ursula.
Yeah.
I know it's the villain that says it, but
But
it's
hey,
just,
yeah,
but we
She would
like
say,
it.
"Why are you helping me? It's what I do.
It's what I live for."
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And honestly, that's what I lived for when I was going through treatment.
Yep.
That was my goal, was to get back with those kids again.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap up the show, any closing remarks?
Any closing remarks?
Huh?
Huh?
What's a remark?
I don't know.
There you go. It's
Oh.
not one of Harvey's words there. Gosh, well, we appreciate you having us.
Of
We're
course.
very flattered.
My
We'll
gosh,
come back.
yes.
We're only touching the surface. We can go
Yeah.
on and on.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
You'll
indeed.
give us a chance to talk
You
about
said
ourselves.
something in
Of
the
course.
car on the way over. What was it you said about be good closing?
Oh, I forget.
Okay.
I'm an old man now.
You gotta say, I don't know.
The one thing maybe I might mention, I know this is a good point to throw it in, but I've said many, many times, we should really have a camera crew following us around.
No, that'd be
Because
great.
there's so many things
Oh.
that happen
Oh
unexpected,
my
mishaps,
gosh.
and they love that for reality
Reality
shows.
show.
Oh,
It's for
Oh
reality
my
shows, you're trying to
gosh.
get all of a sudden the sound doesn't work, and the
Uh-huh.
CD player
Yeah.
goes out, and which I had to switch over actually in the middle of a show from it wasn't working, I had to switch over to something else, or we go to a location to do a program, and we get there and they say, "What are you doing here?" And I'm
Yeah,
here to do a
we do
program.
it.
No, you're not. You're supposed to be over there.
Oh, wow.
Because sometimes the schedule gets changed and they forget to tell us.
Yeah.
Or
and
when-
we have to be at a library that's 40 miles away, driving like crazy.
we go to a show and they say that we're going to perform. They said, "Oh, and the laundromat over there."
That
the
happened one
laundromat.
time. Well, it was a bookmobile location. It was out in Shreveport
And
area.
We've been caught in the rain.
Yeah,
and
oh yeah.
We've had
got
all kinds.
soaking wet. That
Years
happened
ago,
Friday.
a lot of people remember years ago we used to travel with our kitty cats, and
Right.
particularly Scooter, and then later Charlie, and then Peanut too. And a lot of folks remember the cats on stage and everything. And of course, when you travel with animals, you can have all kinds of things happen.
I think about it. I know one thing you'd asked about in your preview questions was anything particularly funny happened. And the thing that comes to mind, in our first year of doing programs, we were at a little school in Vermilion Parish, And that was the time during the show, we had a routine where we were using this song. It was basically the accompaniment music for the song Tequila.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we didn't want to say tequila. It was a drug-free show, so we changed it to banana.
Yeah.
And
That was Harvey's helpful hint.
banana. Banana.
In fact, that was
One,
part of
2, 3, banana.
that was part of Cecil's routine because we were talking about being healthy,
Yeah.
eating healthy foods, and that's where the banana.
That was the healthful hint.
And we had a giant banana puppet.
And he'd say banana. So anyway, we were finishing up the show, and Laura, we always send the kids back quietly. And we learned that from Mark Wade. He said, don't send them back high as a kite.
That's the former teacher in us.
The teachers have to handle those kids. You're going to need to calm them down and get them back. So you had a thing where you told the kids they need to be perfectly quiet, going to go back to class without a sound.
Harvey's going to have his radar ears on listening.
And what would you told them?
So when I count to 3, everybody get very, very quiet. 1, 2, 3.
And one little girl went, banana! Oh, everyone was in shock. Like, what? She just had gone back to the tequila thing. And everyone went, oop. And then we all started laughing. So that little quiet thing didn't work. So let's just end on that happy note.
But anyway, but like I said, that's when... I was going to say that's when our teaching careers actually helped a lot with our performing
She didn't do it on
careers,
purpose. She wasn't trying to be difficult.
No. And to this day, when we see the principal from that school, that was years and years and years ago, and he'd laugh and he'd go, banana! But I was going to say that was one of the things that when we first got into this, they said, well, your former teachers, you're used to being around kids. This is a good vocation for you. And we said, yes, it is. And it still is. We've been doing this how many years now?
Really, almost to 39 years.
Wow.
39 years. We've been married 42 years.
Yeah. And I tell people, well, when you're going to retire, we got to get to 50. So that's 11, 12 years from now. And then we'll start thinking about it. And 50, let's see, I'm 71 right now. We won't tell Laura's age. But she's 5 years younger than I am. So 12 years, I'll be...
You're going to get an earful when you get in the car. It won't be me this time.
But Mr. Tim and Miss Laura, thanks again for taking time out of y'all day to join us here at the Grand Ole Show. And of course, for all y'all doing for, bringing smiles to children and adults. Too. So.
Well, thank you for having us. It was a pleasure.
Oh, our pleasure.
Ciao for now, chicky dailies and duty dailies. Yeah.
Anyone who knows me and follows my personal social media pages knows that I typically start and end my day with an inspirational quote. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you today's Gotivation. Encouraging someone to be entirely themselves is the loudest way to love them. Thanks to everyone who tuned in to today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to follow us to get notified on future episodes, and feel free to send in your questions to the Go Ask Grant segment. They just might be answered on an upcoming episode. As always, have a great day, God bless, and remember, you're loved.